All right, good morning. Jim Mueller here, the chair of the Newsletter and Social Media Committee, and we're doing our wonderful interview of our fellow spotlight of Marlene Eskin-Moses. And would you like to give a little introduction about yourself?
Certainly. I am a family law attorney in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a prior president of this august organization for which I'm very proud, and I'm an active and continuing member, and I appreciate being on the spotlight.
Well, we love having you here. Thank you so much for joining us, Marlene. And tell us, so a little bit about your history. When did you join the Academy and kind of how you came all the way through to the highest ranking?
I joined in the 200s, and I found out about the Academy through doing research, through learning about the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers Journal. And I thought, this is an organization to which I would like to belong. And so I applied, and then there was nobody in Tennessee to interview me. So then I was interviewed by a man named George Stern in Atlanta, Georgia. I, as a child, had gone to Sunday school and Hebrew school, and George Stern was my Hebrew teacher. And I thought, what is the possibility that this George Stern in Atlanta, Georgia is the George Stern that I knew? And in fact, it was. He was my Hebrew school teacher. He went to Vanderbilt Law School, and when he was in law school, he taught. And he was one of my favorite teachers ever. So we went and I had my oral interview, but it took a while to get to the family law questions because we had to talk about our history and Nashville and his family. His mother was still in Nashville, and it was just, we clicked. And I just was so pleased to have found him again. And he actually was my mentor in the Academy. So when he was president, he had me as his membership chair. And so I then got on the executive committee at that time, and that was in 2003. And then I was on the executive committee all the way through until I finished my term as past president.
Oh, that's amazing. And then when did you join the International Academy as well?
The International was a little bit after that. But not long after that.
And you're on one of the very shortest list of fellows who've been president of actually both organizations as well. Isn't that right?
That's correct. So my term as president of the International is June of 2020 through February of 2021.
It's amazing. It is amazing. And then I know you've done a whole lot of trips over the years, but both the Academy and International Academy. With the Academy, what would you say is one of your more memorable trips that you've taken?
Actually, it was June of 19. I'm sorry.
Oh, June of 19. Okay.
June of 19 through February of, no, it's June 20 to February of 2022. That's what it is.
Oh, that's what, okay.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, thank you. So my most memorable trip.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question. The last one. So I love to travel. I've traveled often and frequently. I, of course, was grounded during COVID, but I am set to have more travels and have already booked them. And honestly, I love the cultures, the experiences. I love traveling with my family and my friends and learning about how people function and live and their customs and their practices all over, United States or all over the world. So it really is just whatever trip I just was on, because I want to keep them coming and I want to keep experiencing the world.
And I'll tell you, I cannot wait till we get back to normal and having travel again and doing all that. I think one of the most unique characteristics of the Academy is the fact that it is truly a family of lawyers, yes, but how it also is so inviting to families themselves, and bringing your families on these trips and allowing them. And I mean, I know with my children, they're going to grow up having all of these experiences with other fellows, kids, and they end up with friends across the country. And I think, as we were talking a little this morning, you have your daughter there in the office, and I'm sure, growing up around all of this, it's like a huge extended family.
It's true, because my husband and I traveled with our children, and now I'm traveling with the grandchildren, and the grandchildren are friends with my friends' grandchildren. And we take care of the children of the fellows who come to Vanderbilt or any of the other schools in Nashville, Belmont or Lipscomb, when they're here for college, or if they're having internships or whatever it is that they're doing. So it is a huge extended family in the American Academy, and moreover for me in the International Academy.
I agree, and I think that's just so unique that you don't find in every other organization. That's for sure. What would you say is a little advice that you give to some of the younger and newer fellows?
I would say to treat your law license as if it is a precious commodity, and in doing that, it would be to understand the privilege that you have in being granted this license, and the important impact that you're going to make on your clients and their families and your communities and the world, and to understand that it really is something very special that you've been given an opportunity to do. You've worked hard, so it wasn't that you were given it. You've worked hard to get it. But then as you're treating it as a precious commodity, you also want to treat the people with whom you're involved that way as well. So the judges, the lawyers on the other side, your staff, it really makes a difference as to how you approach this family law practice. It is difficult, it is challenging, it is exhausting, and you can easily burn out. But if you come to it with the perspective of, I am making a difference, and the way I treat everybody that I touch along the way is going to impact these people, not only now, but for their future, their whole lives. And it's just really important to have the reputation of somebody who cares about the people with whom they work and for whom they work, and even the adversaries, because I'm not saying don't be a strong advocate and don't represent your client zealously, but make a decision about what things are important and what are not. If opposing counsel wants a continuance and it's not going to substantially impact your client, then be considerate and grant the continuance. Be reasonable and easy on the things that it's easy to give on, and that puts you in a position that the others know that you care about them, and stand up for the areas that are important and that are really going to make a difference, and make that distinction. But considering that you've been given this opportunity to be a family law attorney, really remember that is a gift that you'll be able to personally benefit from your entire life if you handle it correctly.
I mean, it's excellent advice, not just for young fellows. I think that's a good reminder too for everybody, that as I'm sure we can all have it and need it from day to day when we have those difficult situations, as you were saying, that arise. And when we're trying to get through it, there's certainly many ways to get through it, but there's usually only a couple right ways to do it. So it's always a great reminder to have.
Right. And another thing that's important to think about is, a lot of times we interpret what's coming at us as being personal to us, that the information that's coming or the comments that are being said are reflected by what we're doing or what we've done. And you have to remember the psychology of all of this in the family law practice, that it may be something going on, and most likely it is, either in your client's life or in opposing counsel's life and their experiences, and why they're coming to the table with with something that you feel like is attacking you, if you don't take it personal, if you step back and consider what's going on and deal with it clinically, and don't personally get sucked into whatever it is that's creating the dissonance, and approach the problem solving that way, it'll work a lot better.
Now, okay, now that was said so well. Do you have a psychology background?
I actually do. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology and a graduate degree in social work.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because I was saying the way it was said so well. That's actually my background from Rhodes is also psychology, and I think I never thought I'd use it when I went to law school, and I think going into this area of practice, I couldn't have been better prepared with that degree. I think it's so useful to have that.
I agree.
Yes. Now, what would you say is one of the more rewarding things that you've found about being a fellow of the Academy? Other than almost what you've said a lot of.
Right. It's the connections, it's the people, it's my colleagues, it's the fellows. They energize me. They give me a reason to continue to practice law every day. I love being able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Jim, what would happen in Texas? And you personally have referred cases to me, for which I'm grateful. And to be able to connect with the fellows, and we all respect and appreciate each other, generally. And so I make it a priority, and so do the fellows of the Academy, to respond immediately to other fellows, and we figure out where's the best place to file, or who gets priority, service first or filing first, or support, maintenance, where would it be better? The custody arrangements, they're all different, of course, in all 50 states, and of course around the world. So it's important to figure out there could be concurrent jurisdictions. So from the legal perspective, it's critically important to have those connections. I get calls a lot from people in my community and elsewhere. Who should I contact? Because they know I know everybody. I know the best of the best across the country, and for me, across the world. But then on a personal level, I have friends in the Academy that are my nearest and dearest friends. They show up for me for the good times, and they show up for me at the bad times. And I do the same for them, and I love and adore them. And that's because of decades of being together and working together, for various committees, for various purposes for the Academy, where we've connected, and on personal levels. So the CLE is fabulous. It's the best family law continuing legal education that I've ever received from any source. So multiple reasons, and it really does make me proud to be a fellow of the American Academy, and to have these wonderful friends.
I think the relationships is so true. The bond that you form, and I think one of my favorite questions on every application we have to become a fellow is, would you refer a family member to this person? Because what I love is, if I have anybody calling me and they say, do you know a lawyer in Nashville? It's not just, do I know a lawyer in Nashville? It's, yes, I do know a lawyer in Nashville, and yes, you're going to be in great hands. And oh my gosh, it'll go great. That is an unbelievable feeling to be able to refer that across, like you said, in the world, to know it's not just a lawyer, it's, that you're in great hands. This is who it is. This is a personal thing. And so I think that's another unique characteristic that you don't find elsewhere.
I agree.
And any parting words you'd like to give, as we kind of close up this little interview?
I appreciate all that the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers does. It is a tremendously significant organization. The leadership works really hard and has to keep it going, and to have important committees that are doing tremendous work. And I do believe that it is the preeminent family law organization in our country. And it is a precious commodity in and of itself. And so to be a fellow is a feather in all of our caps. And so I appreciate being a fellow, being amongst the fellows, and I appreciate this opportunity to be interviewed today.
Well, we appreciate it. Obviously, like you said, it took so much work. It does take a lot of work. I think some fellows don't understand even how much work is happening behind the scenes. And obviously, you've put so much of your time into it, and we appreciate everything that you've given the Academy and increased so much on the Academy and just its value. So we thank you very much as well, Marlene.
Thank you, Jim.